All right, I'm going to take a look at these two 1909 Michigan Bowies. I've had these for a while now, but I haven't made a video of them. So the Michigan Bowie was originally designed by Webster Marble in 1907. It's more or less a Tex-Mex style Bowie, not really a Sheffield pattern. They market it as their trail maker and like the marbles line. So the blade length on these two knives, well, the original one, so this one here is the modified drop point one with a single quill and guard, but the original true to type one here, the specs on it are as follows: overall length of 15.4 inches, blade length of 10 inches, blade height of 1.45 inches, blade thickness of 1/4 inch, so 250 thou. Blade steel is A2 at about 58 HRC, and the weight is approximately 18.5 ounces. Yeah, so this one here I picked up because it's got a draw point single quilling guard on it, which is, you know, to me maybe a little more useful for everyday camp type chores. The guard, like a full guard for me, is cumbersome. I don't like it. I like the looks of it, but as far as practicality and stuff goes, I definitely like the single quilling. I mean, there's a big handle on these things. Like, I mean, my hand is, you know, I still have room to spare. Yeah. And I'm having to stand back to get this thing completely in view of the video camera here. That's crazy. This one here, this one's actually a really special one. It's Desert Ironwood burl, and it has a bloody basin spacer. This one I did a pre-order on it. I thought about doing it with the drop point and the single quill and guard on it, but I figured, you know what, at that time I was able to buy two of them. So I decided to go with the original pattern with the fancier handle, and I'll keep this one more as a collectible, I guess you could say. But I mean, perfectly executed. Fit and finish on it are just, it's just perfect. No issues with the grind at all. I mean, some people might nitpick a little bit because there's just a little bit of a you know, belt mark there where it's dug in, but I mean, that's absolutely silly. It's something that gives the blade character. I mean, the symmetry, it's perfectly symmetrical from side to side. Little swedge on there is perfect. I mean, these are actually really light in hand for the size of the blade. Remind me a fair bit of the Bark River Grizzly in terms of, you know, agility and stuff. This one here, I mean, it's perfect. Like, it's absolutely perfect. I had this one in the sheath, and I don't know if it'll pick up on here or not, but there's just a little bit of a stain. That's the problem with storing carbon blades in your sheath, like leather sheath and stuff, is they will stain and potentially rust. You can see a little bit of staining. I just wiped the oil off and cleaned it in some soapy water. I'll re-oil it. I'm gonna put it back in the sheath. Usually what I do with these knives is I'll oil the blade, put it in the sheath, oil the blade, put it in the sheath, do that several times. That way the leather isn't soaking up the oil. And then, you know, often by the 5th or 6th time, it's not sucking that oil up, and you still are left with a bit of oil on the blade. The sheath that comes with it is the conventional sort of scabbard style with the frog, I guess you'd call it that. You know, high quality leather. But yeah, what else can I say? I guess in terms of what these blades would compare to for other knives in the market, the two that come to mind immediately are the Cold Steel Trailmaster, which is obviously, you know, patterned quite closely after the original Marbles Trailmaster. or Trailmaker, yeah. Sorry, getting confused with all the names here. And then the other one would be the Felkniven modern Bowie. And then, oh yeah, there's, you know, a couple other knives that are somewhat similar, but different enough that I would probably not really compare them. The old Western Bowie, it's a much wider blade. The other one that's similar in terms of, or sorry, as far as Bark River's offering, is the Rio Grande Bowie, but I find it's much heavier. It seems like a bit of a more robust knife. It probably would hit a lot harder than these 1909 Michigan Bowies in terms of chopping. The pommel on these, you know, the conventional marble style pommel with the nut on there. I've not heard of anybody having any issues with them coming loose or anything like that. The guards are brass, I guess. A little bit of tarnishing on that, just, you know, from handling it. The oil's on my hand, but oh, this is green linen micarta. I'll show the box. You can see there's a bit of staining on there that, you know, if you're somebody that's particular about that kind of stuff, that might bother you. But a little bit of flitz or auto sol, or any kind of metal polish like that will take that off. The single quillen guard, that is the box for that. Green linen. And then for my Desert Ironwood, you can see the blue dot there, which represents that it's a pre-order knife. Desert Ironwood burl and Bloody Basin spacer. I think that particular knife was one of one that was released in the last run of these knives. I know a few people were quite taken by the pictures when they posted on the website, and they were asked, I think one person actually asked, you know, who got this. So I'm pretty happy that it was me. That pictures don't really do that justice. You know, that wood is just gorgeous. It's probably the nicest piece of Desert Ironwood burl that I have in my collection. I have quite a few knives in Desert Ironwood, and, you know, several in Desert Ironwood burl, but the figuring and stuff on that is just unbelievable. I find the handle is maybe a little thinner on that than this one. I mean, they're all hand shaped, right? So, yeah, a little thicker in the belly there, but I mean, it just feels so good in the hand, you know. There's something about these marbles pattern or marble style handles that I really like. I like the pommel. I like the looks of them. I like the feel of them. They speak to me. These are two of my most prized knives for sure. I'm gonna definitely use this one. Problem is, you know, when you have as many knives as I do, it's hard to, you know, use them all and give them all, you know, the kind of love and attention that they need. But, you know, it's definitely one out of, you know, 3 or 4 in this category and size of knife that I would go to for sure. It's actually got such a perfect balance and feel, and, you know, for the size of it being a 10-inch blade, like it's not unwieldy at all. Like, it's actually, I think, you know, quite a bit better balance than the modern Bowie. It's lighter in the hand. I don't think it would give up anything in terms of chopping ability. Same kind of blade length. Yeah, it's a fantastic knife. I don't know if they're going to do another run of these anytime soon, but, you know, anybody that's on the fence, that's looked at these and have looked at, you know, the Cold Steel Trailmaster, or, you know, the Felkniven modern Bowie, I don't think these things give up anything in terms of performance, right? Other than the fact that the Cold Steel and the modern Bowie, for sure, it's stainless. The Cold Steel version of the Trailmaster comes in a couple of different options. I believe it still comes in their San Mai version, which is the same as what Felkniven uses. The only difference being that the core steel is slightly different. Cold Steel uses VG1. I don't know if they've switched to VG10. The Japanese blades were always VG1. And then when they switched over production to Taiwan, they started using VG10 for the core steel. But the Trailmaster, sorry, was always VG1, as was all of the other Sanmai 3 steel blades. They used to, at one point, be made out of Aus 8 for the core steel. And then the modern Bowie, it uses the cobalt special steel, which is very similar to VG10, but it's got cobalt added to it. I think that's really the main difference in the alloying content of the steel. So it's a little bit tougher, a little bit better edge holding. In terms of toughness, neither of them are even going to come close to the toughness of A2. They're going to have, you know, slightly better wear resistance. Maybe, I don't know how much more, probably a little bit more, but not much. I mean, the main difference you're going to see with those other blades would be in terms of corrosion resistance. But the thing is, the Cold Steel Trailmaster is offered in 3V. It used to be offered in A2, 01, their SK5, which is basically like a 1095, what the heck was it? It's a variation of 1095, basically. 1095 Crovan, I think is what it's called, was the actual technical name of the steel. And it would rust like crazy, as would 01. A2 will rust. Oh yeah, I think they made it in A2 as well. So A2 will rust quite a bit if left, you know, uncared for. It's not terrible. It's not like, you know, 1095 or, well, L6 or any of those old high carbon steels and stuff. A2 will definitely not rust as quickly or as aggressively as those steels. What else can I think to say about these knives? Yeah, I think they're going to come out with a scaled down version of these, maybe a 7-inch blade. I think there was talk about that on the Bark River group page on Facebook. And I think that would actually be a really, really, really sweet size knife. If it, you know, is quicker and more agile in hand than this, I mean, you're certainly not gonna find a much better knife as far as a heavy duty belt knife that's capable of doing a wide variety of chores. I mean, a knife like this would actually still be, you know, usable as a, you know, a second, like if you had a 2-knife setup, like a smaller knife and a larger knife in terms of hunting, like if you're moose hunting or something like this, I mean, you could use this to quarter up a moose and start breaking it down, and, you know, use your smaller knife for most of the work. But I mean, you use it for, you know, kindling and food prep. I mean, you could use this as a carving knife if you wanted to. I mean, it might not be the best for that, but I mean, you could chop vegetables with it. I mean, the edge geometry on it is pretty darn good. Like, it's you know, fairly thin through here. Like, it's not thin up here, but it's thin down here. So I mean, it's gonna bite in. I haven't tried cutting anything with it, but I mean, I can certainly tell by, you know, running my finger along the edge that the width of the blade, the stock thickness, and just the way the grind is, that it will certainly you know, do well with cutting, you know, onions and potatoes. It might split them a little bit, but I mean, it's certainly going to be functional. But yeah, anyways, if you guys can think of anything as far as suggesting other videos to make, maybe, you know, comparing these two blades to something else, leave your questions and comments in the comment section. Yeah, trying to think what else to think of here. Yeah, so I've talked about the sheath. The sheath is, you know, it's got that frog on it. It's got this little loop here. You know, you can put that over the handle and use that to give you a little bit of extra security as far as it coming out. It's not going to come out. I mean, these are basically friction fit in there. Like, it's not loose fitting at all. Here, I'll put it in the sheath here. Okay, so that's in the sheath. You can see it's not coming out. Like it's not. Like I could literally swing this around like that and it's not coming out. So you definitely don't have to worry about that blade, you know, falling out of the sheath without you knowing it. I think you could probably tumble down the mountainside and still have that on your belt. You might get impaled by either the pommel and break some ribs, you know, or have the blade come through the leather, potentially, I guess. But yeah, it's definitely secure in there. And it doesn't carry that bad. Like, it really doesn't. I mean, it's a big blade, but, you know, if you're not riding a quad or a motorbike or anything like that, and you're just hiking around, I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's certainly going to be something that's better carried in a backpack or something like that, but yeah, it's not bad. Well, anyways, thanks for watching. If you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and appreciate you know, all the feedback that I get from you guys and new subscribers. And yeah, I look forward to reading your guys' comments. Thanks for watching.